What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DJ LiftOFF, and you don't want to miss this flight. Now, in today's video, as you can see here, we have the Rane Performer, and in this video I'm not gonna do a super in-depth review, kind of like how I've done in some of my other videos. I mean, none of my reviews are super duper in-depth. I think there's tons of great DJs and reviewers that have already covered this controller. However, what I am going to do is talk about some of the things that I like, some of the things that I don't necessarily like, and I don't think there's too many things I don't like about this controller. And then at the end of the video, I'm also gonna talk about whether I prefer this or whether I prefer the DJing Rev 7, okay? Because I know that's a question that a lot of people want to know or have in general. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, DJs, I just wanted to start this off with a quick scratch routine, just a little bit of freestyle scratching just to get me back acclimated because I haven't actually used the controller in about 2 days. However, it just reminds me of how good this controller actually feels when we're talking about the Crossfader as well as the Platters. And before I even hop right into the Platters, when I opened this box, it reminded me pretty much of an exact replica of the Rane 4. And there's tons of things I really liked about the Rane 4, which of course carry over to this controller as well. So I just want to start off by saying, if you've seen my Rane 4 review, you know I talked highly about that. This is just pretty much an upgraded version of that Rane 4. So right here we have our Platters first. Definitely a sizable platter, definitely big enough to fit your hand right on there. Definitely feels really good. And when I first just put my hands on the platter in general, it reminded me of the Rev 7 in a way, a little bit different, however similar in the same way, just kind of like the feel of the outer platter in general. Gave me, and even how I like spin it back and forth just like this gave me that kind of same feel as the Rev 7. Now, I know one question that a lot of DJs have asked me and that a lot of DJs will have is what are you using underneath the vinyl here? So one other thing I really like about this controller is this pops off really easily. When I watch all of the other DJs put this joint back on, they do it super easily, but when I try to put it back on, it might take me a minute, so I might have to do a cut here, but we'll see. So under this, all I'm literally using is this white slip ring. So it also comes with, or it comes with this, and it comes with 2 plastic slip rings as well. So you can decide what you want to use as far as how you want the pressure or like the resistance to feel on your vinyl. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. Let's see if I can actually do this fast this time. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut. I'm struggling. There's gotta be a trick to this or something. I don't know what I be doing wrong. All right, just got this boy back on. But like I just said, there's definitely enough room on this vinyl to fit your hand. These are 7-inch. The size of these are 7 inches. And then we have a 3.5-inch display in the middle of these as well. And the display definitely comes with a few changeable things that you can do if you just come over to the middle of your controller here. All right, so within these settings, again, by just holding shift, hitting this menu button, you have your day mode. So if you just press over on this little knob here, you can turn this on or off. Obviously, this is great for if you're outside or whatever other reason you might need to use that. I usually just leave mine off. You also have your needle marker. You can turn that on and off just like that. You also have time. You have your library view. You have your list time / key, and that's all you have for that. So now if I go back again, we also have, we can make changes to our filter here, our firmware, that stuff for like updates and stuff. You can reset everything, factory reset, all that kind of stuff as well. You can also change your motor torque. I always have my torque on high. That's just what I like for scratching. Go back. We also have microphone settings, our main meter, fader FX, and we have our crossfader as well. So one thing I did want to talk about was this crossfader setting. We have cut in left. I have mine set to 0. We have cut in right. I also have that set to 0. So one thing that I noticed with this particular controller is that the cut in isn't always as crisp as I would like it. It is still really good, but in times that I've been scratching, especially when I'm not scratching with an instrumental on the other side, I've realized that it could come in just a slightly faster. It could come in slightly faster. However, overall, still a really great controller. I don't think it's a big deal whatsoever. And to just kind of expound on that, I just mean like if you're coming over with the sound like this, the time that it actually takes to come in. So like if I go like, I want that sound to come in as fast as possible. All right, DJ, so those are all of the kind of things that you can change directly on your controller, which is really nice to be able to change so much directly on your controller. Also, while I'm right here, you also see up here that you have your hardware effects and your software effects. You can just change those by literally just tapping this right now. So when this is on, it's software effects. And then when it's off or when it's blue, you have your hardware effects. So that's your echo, your recycler, scale down, reverb, matrix, echo out. But to get to one of the most important things on this actual controller is going to be the crossfader. Now, I really enjoy this crossfader for the most part, or I won't even say for the most part. It's definitely a fluid crossfader. I would say if I'm comparing it to using my S9, my Pioneer DJM S9 mixer, I do like the way that crossfader feels just a little bit better. Also, I like the Rev 7, and of course I'm going to be comparing this to the Rev 7 because it's the exact same price range. But yeah, I like the Rev 7 just a tad bit better, but this is still super fluid, and there's other things about this controller that I do like, other things that are similar, dissimilar to the Rev 7, but again, we'll talk about that shortly. So in general, the crossfader does feel really good. When I'm scratching, it definitely feels natural. I love the feel, again, of the motorized platters. Love the feel of the crossfader here. So yeah, no complaints on that whatsoever. Another thing that's great about this crossfader and this controller is you have your attention adjust right on the controller as well. So I like to keep mine not all the way to the left on the minus, just a little bit up, but I like my crossfader really fluid. And then as far as the faders, the default feel of the faders, they feel pretty good. I'm not one to scratch too much using the faders, but you'll definitely see tons of scratch DJs that use the faders to scratch as well. But again, like this default setting of the fader, they're definitely fluid, feel pretty good. So definitely no issues there. When I'm actually DJing, when I'm mixing, I do like to slowly push these up. And I always do a test like this where I'm just slowly pushing it up, and that feels super fluid. So definitely great faders on this controller. All right, DJs, now let's move right over to our pad section. So here we have kind of our standard features here. We have the hot cue, we have the roll, we have the sampler, and we have the stems as well. Now, if I double click this, we have our pitch play here. We have our save loops, our scratch bank, and we have our slicer as well. So in general, I really do like the feel of these pads. When you press them, they click in, or you can literally audibly hear it click just a little bit. One thing I do wish is the pads could have been just a slight bit or a slight tad bit bigger, they could have been a little bit bigger, but overall still fine. I haven't really had issues in pressing them and pressing two at once. So just kind of like a personal preference there, but overall the pads definitely feel good. Again, you can hear them click in. They press just fine. Now over to the right is what I really like about this controller. Having my loop here, having my half X or half times, 2 times right here. I really like the setup and having it right here. Also, that's right next to our acapella and instrumental as well. I feel like when I'm personally mixing, I'm easily able to do something and then kind of, whether I'm hitting it with my thumb or I'm coming down with my hands, I just really like the placement of these when I'm mixing. They're really easy to get to. And then on top of that, just having this acapella and instrumental button in general, I love it. I literally have a video on my Instagram right now where I'm incorporating the use of this instrumental and acapella button. Now, of course, you have stems here, but stems requires you, of course, you have to hit stems. Like, let's say you're on your hot cue, you have to hit stems, then you have to remove the vocal or you remove the instrumental. But sometimes when you just want to do a hard cut, just remove the acapella or remove the instrumental altogether right at once because you're doing something really quickly for a mix, these buttons work magic. I love them as far as mixing. Now moving over to our left a little bit more, we have our start stop button. This feels just fine. This again just clicks all the way in. The cue and the sync button are more of like a harder click than the start stop. Start stop has like a little bit of resistance when you click it versus the cue and the sync. You can even hear them probably in the video. Little bit more clicky, but both of those sound just fine. Moving up towards the top of the controller, we have our beat jump, our stop time here, our beat jump length, slip, sensor, silent cue, all of the normal things that you would have again on your controller. One more thing that's obviously cool about the Rane in general is you have this stem split here. So For me, even though I really do like to mix, I haven't found myself using the stem split a lot. All that pretty much does is it splits your vocals. As you can see here, your vocals will go to fader 1, and your instrumental will go to fader 3. I've actually tried to incorporate this before to purposely use it. This was a while back when I had the Rane 4, and it does come in handy if that's what you like to do. However, for me, it's just not something that I pretty much do frequently. Now, one additional thing that is cool about this controller that I don't personally use, again, too much, but I've definitely seen DJs use it, is it has the ability to take out your drums, your melody, and your vocal directly using these knobs here. So your EQ knobs. So to enable that, all you have to do is hold shift here. And then when you have this Q button on and you have your song playing, you can take out the drums using that bottom EQ or low EQ. The mid, you can take out the melody, and then with the vocal, let me get the vocal back in there. You can take out that vocal just like that. So if that's something that you like to do, instead of using the stems down here, you can use your EQ knobs to do that as well. Now, as far as the channel effects, I'm not gonna go too deep into these. In general, these feel just fine. You can change your effects, channel effects, just by clicking through these. You have your filter roll, your noise, and your flanger. So actually, let me just go ahead and show you how those sound though. Here's our filter. There's our filter roll. There's our noise. That's our flanger there. And then down here, you have your echo, recycler, again, scale down, reverb, matrix, and our echo out. So in general, that's all I wanted to cover in this short video. Again, just giving my thoughts on mainly how the Crossfader feels, how the Platters feel, how the buttons feel. Just gave you a short rundown of some of the different functionalities on this controller. So now going on to the part where I know a lot of you may want my opinion, or not necessarily want my opinion, but just hear what I have to say in general. When we're talking about the Rane Performer, in my eyes, versus the Rev 7, I think they're really close in terms of things that I like on each controller. But if I had to put one above the other, I do have the Rev 7 slightly above this controller. And the reasons why, number one, I do like that Crossfader just a little bit better, the way it feels. I like the cut-in time just a little bit better on that as well. As far as the Platters pretty much don't have a big difference to me as far as like what I like a lot better. It solely is just the Crossfader and the feel of the Crossfader there. Also me, I love that battle style layout. So having the pads up here, just easier for me to get to, just feels a little bit more natural for me. I do really like that this Rane Performer does have the effects, of course, like this. We have our paddle effects. I like this a lot better than that button that a lot of Pioneer controllers have, maybe other controllers as well. So that is one thing I really do like, is the paddle effects. But overall, those are like the only things that make this controller just slightly less of something that I would use more often than the Rev 7. Again, that Crossfader, as well as me liking that battle style layout. As far as the audio quality, the microphone, the speakers, how they sound coming out of this system, I haven't used this out in the field, so I can't talk about that much. However, like I said, there's other DJs, other reviewers that have, I'm sure, use this out in the field. It can give you a better kind of just synopsis on what the audio quality sounds like. But for me, I'm just looking, of course, this controller does have 2 mics, has our headphones over here, has our split cue, things like that, but that's nor here nor there. The main things I wanted to talk about are things that I already talked about in this video. So overall, definitely a great controller to pick up, especially if you're someone who loves to mix. Like I said, I love the placement of this acapella instrumental button in the loop here. All the pads feel great. Scratching on this definitely feels great. So again, definitely a great pickup. So that's all I have to say about this controller. All right, DJ, so if you did enjoy this video, please press that like button and press that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you know the next time that I upload a video. And without further ado, I will catch y'all on the next flight.